I felt like I could not be on a diet. I did not trust myself at all. I don't know if you can relate to this, but I would feel anxious not having some sort of plan. So if I did a 30-day, 60-day plan, when I was nearing the end of that plan, I was always trying to figure out what my next thing was. And because I believed that if I didn't have a plan to follow, that I would just eat my face off. Hey, it's Nichole Kellerman-Worth, CEO of WildBeAlive.com, where we help women get on the same team as their bodies so they can feel and look their best. When a woman realizes how badass her body is, she feels alive and is no longer afraid to create the life she's always wanted. I know this to be true because it's happened to me and thousands of our clients. Welcome to the journey of getting on the same team as your body. Hello! For those of you who are watching this, not just listening to this, you can see that little Miss Bailey is here. We got some doggies here. We got a whole little party in the background. I'm semi-back to Wildly Alive, and it was really important for me to be able to record these podcasts for the month of April because we're talking about something that I see most women struggle with. And so for those of you who are new here, Wildly Alive is a body-centered company, and we design all of our programs and classes around 4 pillars: eating, movement, lifestyle, and mindset. And for the month of April, we are talking about an eating pillar. And this specific topic is about helping women be set free from any sort of food strategy. So categorization of food, good food, bad food, calorie counting, meal planning, following any sort of a blueprint, anything that's like outside of what your body is leading you to eat. Does that make sense? So Wildly Alive believes in body-led eating, meaning our body helps us make the choice on what is best for it and what is not best for it. And so we get into this a lot more throughout the next 4 episodes for the month of April. So just play with me here when I say body-led eating. As you continue to listen to the podcast, it will make more sense, and we give you lots of tools and things like that. So in this particular episode, I actually wanted to share with you how body-led eating has helped me navigate this part of my life, this part with this little baby, with postpartum, with pregnancy and things like that. If I want to be really, really relevant with you and give you real examples on how I'm navigating this conversation with myself and my body during this phase of my life, I'm going to share that with you. If you are planning on having children in the future or not, it really doesn't matter. The beautiful thing about body-led eating and letting go of food strategy is that you have a tool to sustain health for the rest of your life. And I talk about this within a podcast with Wildly Alive mentor Becky, is that when we are constantly attached to something or someone else telling us what we should or shouldn't eat, eventually, if you find something that actually works for you, it's going to stop working for you because the body is evolving. The body goes through phases. It goes through seasons. And if you find a way of eating that somebody prescribed you, or you're following some blueprint plan or a certain amount of calories or something that's really working for you right now, not only is that stressful, which we're going to talk about the stress around food strategy a lot in this month, because within Wildly Alive Mastery, our class this month is called Set Free. And again, it's all about setting you free from the stress of food strategy so you can have a tool to sustain health for the rest of your life. Like for me, for example, how I ate while I was pregnant is different than how I was eating prior to pregnancy. How I'm eating now as someone who's nursing is different than how I ate when I was pregnant and how I ate prior to pregnancy. So this is what I'm saying, is that the body is always evolving and changing. And if you feel like you always need a diet, or you need some sort of plan, or you need somebody or something to tell you how you should and shouldn't eat, then it always leaves the power outside of yourself. Okay, I had to blow my nose really quick. So if you can't tell, I'm getting over some sort of cold right now. So bear with me with that as well. And while you're also listening to the other podcasts, I just want to throw out this little disclaimer. I don't know if you know this, but after you have a baby, your brain is just not really working on all cylinders. And when I had Wyatt, I was really annoyed by this, but the mechanism is beautiful. It's a beautiful mechanism of the body. It's there to help you connect with your baby more and slow you down so you're not in this like hyper productivity kind of mode. So, and I know I'm saying that as I'm recording a podcast for you right now, so I understand. But I will tell you, I have been definitely enjoying slowing down. The whole Wildly Alive team, the mentors have been so amazing during my postpartum time and so supportive. And so anyway, as you're listening to these podcasts, just know that the brain is a little slower than she typically is. And I'm also battling a cold while recording these podcasts. And so enjoy that 2 times speed, because I really try to shoot for these podcasts to be like 30 minutes long max. And I thought I had hit those. But then when I checked the recording, they were far over that. And I was like, wow, I am really not thinking totally straight here. So just bear with me during this time. It's good information. Might be a little slower, might have a little bit more brain farts, but you're really going to enjoy what you're going to learn this month. And we also, just so you know, we have a free experience coming up called Effortless Eating. So if you want to be somebody who really can embody this, who wants to feel freedom around food, who wants to be able to go to those barbecues and those birthday parties and not feel like you're all caught up in what should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? Well, if I eat that, maybe I have to work it out tomorrow. And you feel like the strategy of food is pulling away from living your life and enjoying your life. And you want to feel like it's just easy, like it's no drama, right? Food was so full of drama for me. It was so dramatic. It was always a thing. There was always so much emotion surrounding food and what I was eating and what I wasn't eating and all the things. And if you want to really feel true peace, if you want to let the stress go, if you want it to just flow and feel like something you naturally navigate without a lot of anxiety, then I would highly suggest you jump in and experience Effortless Eating. It's a free 3-day video training packed with so much good information. So even if you are not quite ready to jump into Wildly Alive Mastery and try out this set-free class that's going to start taking place after Effortless Eating, at least you have that to really work from. I mean, not only are you going to get some great tools here in the podcast, but if you're ready to take it to the next step and really start healing your relationship with food so you can feel freedom, so you can start trusting yourself and trusting your body and what that even looks like to help your body help you choose what foods are best for her, then jump into Effortless Eating. It's only going to be up for a little over a week. So if you're listening to this in real time, like close to the release date, then check for a link somewhere around this audio or video and jump on in. So, okay, I want to give you an example of how body-led eating and really doing the work, doing the mindset work to let go of the strategy around food, which I was really caught up in that. If you don't know my story, I started out like hardcore dieting. I felt like I could not be on a diet. I did not trust myself at all. I don't know if you can relate to this, but I would feel anxious not having some sort of plan. So if I did a 30-day, 60-day plan, you know, when I was nearing the end of that plan, I was always trying to figure out what my next thing was. And because I believed that if I didn't have a plan to follow, that I would just eat my face off and eat all the terrible foods, you know, that are accessible to me. And, you know, I had to do a lot of mindset work to get to a point where I could trust myself, where I could trust my body, and where I could honor my body when she wanted certain things, because again, I thought that if I had no plan, all I would do is want to eat junk. But I was pleasantly surprised as I started to do this work that you will learn here in the podcast and in Effortless Eating and in the Set Free class, if you want to join us for that as well, is my body craved healthier foods more than I realized, and she wanted healthier foods. It was when I told myself that I couldn't have something that I wanted it more, right? You tell me that I can't have ice cream, I can hold out for a while, but eventually I'm going to binge out on the ice cream. I was like a feast or faminer. I would restrict and binge. That was definitely my MO for years. So I had to do a lot of mindset work, which the Set Free class is based on all of the work that I did to get myself to a place where I could feel true food freedom and not go into the strategy of food even in my head. Maybe I wasn't like calorie counting and writing it down. I mean, I have loads and loads of notebooks that I've now gotten rid of, but that I would just like carry around with me to track all of my calories. And then what eventually happens if you start to learn calorie counting enough is you just start to calorie count in your head. So it's one thing to not be tracking on your phone or your watch, or like some sort of an app now, or, the good old notebook. That's one thing. But the next step is to not do that in your head when you're trying to figure out what you want to eat. Because when you really release this, the whole idea is that you have no restriction on what your body can and cannot eat. So you cannot open the refrigerator or go to the buffet table and say, I'm going to try this whole thing that Nicole's talking about. And I'm going to allow my body to just choose whatever she wants. If you're not careful, one of two things can happen. You can go into your mind and you can say, oh no, you can't have that because that's a lot of calories and you're going to pay for that later. Or, and this is like the mother energy, which in Effortless Eating, you're going to learn about this mother-daughter dynamic that happens with our relationship with food, where there's this mother, you need to be a good girl, you need to make the right choices. And that's a dominant energy for a while until your inner teenager comes out and says, screw you. Like, I'm going to be a rebel. I'm going to eat exactly whatever I want. And so if you come to that buffet table and you haven't done the mindset work to clear the food strategy, which again, I'm going to teach you all of this in the free resources available to you in this podcast and the free experience. And then in Set Free, to take it a step further and really ingrain it, is one of those dominant energies are going to come forward. You're either going to be saying, oh no, you can't have that bread, don't have those mashed potatoes, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be like strategizing in your head. Or the inner rebel is going to come out and be like, yeah, I can eat whatever I want. And you just go for it. And so either way, that is not body-led eating, because once you tell yourself you can or cannot have something, it messes up the entire body-led eating process. So you've got to do that inner work, that mindset work first, so you are emotionally neutral when you show up at the buffet table, and then your body gives you the cues, right? And so, again, I give you some tools in future podcasts this month where you can listen to them right now, where these are actual body-led eating tools. My 2 foundational tools to body-led eating I give you in the podcast this month. So if you're at all like, don't even know where to start, I got you, don't worry. So I want to share with you how this translated to my life in this phase of my life. Again, it doesn't matter if you are planning on having a baby or not. The thing to know is that our bodies are always changing and evolving. And this was one way that my body was evolving and changing. And, if it's menopause, if it's perimenopause, if you are moving, your body is always in this constant evolution. So, or maybe you go through some sort of health obstacle or anything like that, or you're breaking out really bad, or you're having all kinds of gut issues, right? Whatever you were eating before has now made it clear that it's not working for you anymore. So as far as pregnancy and eating, right? When you are pregnant, you have more of an appetite. You also have more food sensitivities. Most women do. And so navigating that when I was pregnant it was very, very intuitive. And the interesting thing is that I was able to eat things when I was pregnant that I was not able to eat prior to pregnancy. So I have a gluten sensitivity. I have a certain threshold with gluten that I can eat until my gut just completely blows up and I just feel terrible. So when I was pregnant with her, she liked bagels. She loved bagels and cream cheese. We have this great bagel shop, and I would just be eating a lot of bagels and cream cheese. Now, if you think about this, and I was still stuck in food strategy, it could have gone one of two ways. I could have went into my head with my mothering energy and said, you shouldn't be eating this. This is bad for you. But I tested it. With the body-led tools that I give you, you will start to notice what agrees and doesn't agree with your body. And as I ate bagels and cream cheese, I was not having the same response, the same physical response, like the inflammatory response that I was having prior to pregnancy. So I was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. So I was also able to eat more dairy than I typically do. I wasn't really craving a lot of meat. So I think my body was trying to compensate and try to get more protein in with dairy, which typically, again, I have a lower threshold with dairy. I can eat it, but I have to eat it in like small, moderate amounts, or I start to break out on my face really bad. And that's actually interesting because once I had her, I continued that level of dairy and I started breaking out. And I looked in the mirror and I said, okay, I don't think that I can eat the amount of dairy I was eating when I was pregnant with her. Same thing with the gluten, same thing. So when I was pregnant, like if I would have went into my mind with the mother strategy, I would have been stressed out. I would have been negating my body. I would have been, and then the rebel would have came out and said, well, I can eat whatever I want. And then I would eat, multiple bagels and binge out on bagels, right? I still had to check in with myself. I'll be honest. Like I was definitely moving into that inner rebel teenager energy a few times after I'd had like a bagel and cream cheese like 3 days in a row. Like that's a lot. That's a lot for me and my body. And so I started asking myself, like, am I just eating this because I can get away with it? Because I'm like, free for all, excuse me, or I'm being lazy and don't want to make myself breakfast. Or do I actually desire it? And I'm going back into my body and asking myself. So I did have to slow myself down, especially when I was having them consecutively. I tried to space them out a little bit more because the truth is that if I did eat a bagel and cream cheese 3 days in a row, on that third day, I would feel pretty terrible. So I was definitely starting to hit that threshold. Even though the threshold was higher, I was hitting it. And I was recognizing in my body, I was having the conversation from a place of respect of, is this really working for my body, if I'm really honest with myself, or not? It wasn't from a place of shame. You shouldn't be doing that. You've had 3 in a row. No, not mothering energy. It was from a place of inquiry, of awareness, of just having this conversation with myself and my body of like, how is this really feeling? And I just spaced them out a little bit more. So no drama, not a big deal, right? And so now in my postpartum time, typically what happens to a lot of women is they start to feel really anxious about getting the baby weight off and restricting their calories and maybe starting to exercise far too early because they want their mommy body back, whatever that marketing is. Drives me absolutely crazy. And I can totally see how the body actually, because you're not in alignment with what the body needs, you will retain the weight. You will not lose it. Meaning, for me, during my postpartum time, I have a far bigger appetite after I have the baby than when I'm even pregnant. So I am eating far more now because I'm nursing, and that's just what my body needs to create, food for this human. And so I am not afraid of my hunger. I used to be so afraid of my hunger. I hated it. I was annoyed by my hunger because, according to the calorie counting mathematical health world, like the least amount of calories, the better. And it was just, and so I'd be like, I would eat breakfast, and if I was still hungry, I'd be so annoyed at my body. Like, gosh, I have to eat more. Well, eating more is going to make me fat. So I have not been afraid of my hunger. I have been honoring it. I mean, I take snacks to bed with me. If I wake up in the middle of the night and she's like taking a while to go back down, I'll start to get hungry and I might need a snack. Now, what I'm choosing to eat is foods that feel good to me. My sister-in-law is a great baker. She made these amazing like peanut butter brownies and things like that. Like, I still eat all that stuff. But, I don't gorge on it. I try to eat things that are going to make me feel good. And again, because my body just went through this huge shift, it's an inquiry of conversation of what's going on with my body. Is that amount of dairy going to work out? Is that amount that I was eating prior, right? Is the amount of gluten that I was eating going to work? And it's just a constant conversation, not with any shame, not that I should or shouldn't be doing certain things, but just like curious, a lot of curiosity. Bailey's starting to wake up. For those of you listening, you might hear her a little bit. So I've been really just honoring my hunger, and it's insatiable. The first 2 weeks I was like, it feels like I cannot satisfy my appetite. I did not run away with it. I honored it, and I tried to eat foods that felt really good for my body. Okay, we went to Costco and got a lot of like frozen stuff. Many people had made us meals and things like that. I'm not going to get into exactly what we ate, but I will tell you I tried to honor my body as much as I could. And sometimes, she wants brownies and ice cream and like something really heavy. Like just the other day, we were going out to lunch and I was like, I need something heavy. And I had this like buffalo chicken sandwich. It was delicious and it was huge and I ate the whole thing. And I didn't feel bloated afterwards because I could feel that my body was really desiring a lot of food. And so this is not possible if I'm going into strategy, right? It's not possible. And yes, have there been times where I've pushed it and I've felt really full? Okay, lesson learned, right? And so it's just always a conversation between you and your body. And so for me, during this time, it's not about exercise. When I had Wyatt, my son, I truly did not start exercising consistently for about a year because he was a terrible sleeper and sleep trumps diet and exercise. So I would really try to make sleep the biggest priority. I mean, I would occasionally like go on walks and things like that, but no, like getting on the floor, doing any sort of crunches or anything, none of that at all. And I had lost majority of the weight I had gained with him by 6 months. And, I think some of that was I had postpartum depression. I was stressed. I think that definitely played a part as well. But it was just really important for me to not get into this whole idea that I needed to like get my pre-baby body back. Nor is that ever going to happen. I'm not saying that I need to look worse than I did before I had, a baby, but my body is going to be different, right? It's going to look different. And I'm starting to kind of go into more of like body image stuff, which we have a class called My Body Rocks later on in the fall, and where we talk about these things a little bit more. But in terms of diet and what I am eating, it is truly just an internal process of what feels best for me. And I trust that if I honor my body, I honor my hunger, I honor my fullness, I can use the hunger scale, which you'll learn about. I can use the food lover concept, which you'll also learn about here in the podcast. I can do all those things and my body will eventually align. It may take longer than 6 months, longer than with Wyatt, with my first pregnancy, but I really trust it. I don't get anxious about it. In terms of exercise, yes, if I'm feeling the desire to move, which I am actually really feeling the desire to do some yoga because my back has been killing me. And I love walking. Walking is my favorite form of exercise. So I've been kind of craving that, but then I got sick. So then I was like, well, I'm obviously not going to be doing that now. But it's not from a place of like fear that my body is going to look terrible and I'm going to have this extra weight forever. It's really from a place of respect, which that is really one of the foundational philosophies with Wildly Alive is respect-based change versus shame-based change, which is the common narrative within the dieting and health and wellness industry. Little baby sounds. I'm going to move the camera so you can maybe see her. Oop, hold on. So cute. Huh? So cute. So that's, there's my hand. So that's what I have for you today. And I'm really looking forward to you listening to the podcasts that are available to you right now. Just go to sameteampodcast.com. You can listen to it on your favorite podcast platform. And you're gonna meet a Wildly Alive sister and a Wildly Alive mentor and a Wildly Alive guest expert as well. And all of the conversations are centered around this. So I'm super stoked for you. I would love for you to jump into effortless eating. If you are listening to this, she's starting to wake up anyway. If you're listening to this, closer to the release date, it's going to be an incredible experience. It's such a great training. It's going to be within a really great community and sisterhood, as always with Wildly Alive, because that's like our secret fifth pillar is the sisterhood and community. So just look around this video or audio to jump into that and enjoy the rest of the podcast as well. And Miss Bailey is happy. Look at how red she gets. Do you want to say hi before we go? She's a grunter. She likes to grunt. So, and I love her cute little hands. Cute little hands. So, anyway, thanks so much for listening or watching. If you enjoyed this, please share it. Please leave a review on iTunes if you can. Of course, that helps us spread our message. And I will see you in other podcast episodes. Okay, bye. Thank you for bearing with me and Miss Bailey during that podcast episode. And as I mentioned, we have a free 3-day series called Effortless Eating available to you. This is about releasing the stress and making eating healthy easy again. Oh my gosh, see, that's what I'm saying. So look for the link somewhere around this video or audio. Jump on in. I guarantee this is going to blow your mind. And you can also move on to the next podcast episode where you're going to meet Wildly Alive sister Jadira. We also share with you a very powerful concept for body-led eating called the hunger scale. Just go to sameteampodcast.com to listen to the next episode. When in doubt, ask your body. Bye.